Hey guys, and welcome back to yet another episode. On today's show, we're going to be taking a look at Bishoujo Senshi Sailor Moon for the good old Mega Drive, which was originally developed by Arc System Works and released into the world in the summer of 1994. A ways back, like many years ago, we delved into the Super Famicom version of the game, so let's see how the Mega Drive stacks up in comparison. Think of this as sorta like the difference between Turtles in Time and the Hyperstone Heist. Not quite the same games, but they do share some resources and such. Sailor Moon on the Mega Drive consists of 5 total stages, each broken down into different subsections with a boss at the end. This particular game follows the very first season of the show, meaning that only the original 5 gals are selectable here. But still, having 5 characters to pick from in a beat-em-up game shows a lot of variety, considering that most only let you choose between 3 or 4 at the most. Each Sailor Scout has different strengths and weaknesses too, with different special attacks and even individual character endings. They really are different, and it's a lot harder to play through the game with certain characters, at least for me. I really had the best luck with Jupiter since she's easily the strongest and can slam enemies down. To contrast that, Venus has a chain she can attack with, but she's really slow and difficult to control, even with the excellent range. And this brings us to the one big issue with the Mega Drive version when comparing it to the Super Famicom game, and that is that it is single player only. Yeah, I know. What a bummer. 5 characters to choose from and no 2-player option. That sucks. Even with that glaring omission, the Mega Drive Sailor Moon does a few things far better than its Super Famicom cousin. The music here is completely different outside of the main theme and, in my opinion, is far better and much catchier here. The stages themselves also look a bit nicer and are more interesting, even though some of them do feel like they drag on for a lot longer than they should. A personal favorite of mine is Stage 3, where you're on top of a couple of moving semi-trucks while fighting. Great music here, and it always reminds me of Bad Dudes. One issue with this one is that you'll sit on a screen for a while waiting for the enemies to walk on so you can beat them up to move forward. Sometimes they just take forever to get on screen, and the game won't let you move forward until they do. It's a minor annoyance, but it is something you see quite a few times while playing through it. Graphically, things are about even. It really just comes down to personal taste. Not a ton of enemy variety here either. You get to see maybe less than 10 different ones throughout the entirety of the game. Still, what's here does look good, and everything animates well and is pretty bright and colorful. Here's another weird thing about the Mega Drive version. The difficulty settings are backwards from what you're normally used to in the options menu. The hard setting is to the left of the default, while the easier setting is to the right. Definitely threw me for a loop the first time I tried changing the setting. I just couldn't figure out why everything was just beating the hell out of me. That about sums it up as far as the game goes. Sure, there's an extra 6th stage at the end of the game on hard mode, but that's just an extra boss fight. Price-wise, the Super Famicom Sailor Moon is going to be far more reasonable, with prices on the Mega Drive port hitting upwards of $100 or more on average. That's a tall ask for a single-player beat-em-up, but it is a pretty decent one. To me, the Mega Drive Sailor Moon just plays a little bit smoother and feels better overall, but the exclusion of any sort of multiplayer is nuts. If it had that going for it, I'd say it might be worth the dough, if you're a big fan of the series anyway. Keep in mind too that it'll also require either a Japanese system to be played on or something like a Game Genie to bypass the region lock, not unlike Golden Axe 3. This can be done pretty easily though, and this is how I recorded my footage for this episode. The old Game Genie never disappoints. The bypass codes themselves are all over the internet and are easily accessible. As always, guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching, subscribing, and of course commenting. And until next time, stay classic.